Wonderful to see all of you here. Some known faces, some new faces. At any point, if people at the back, you can't hear me, let me know. I'll speak up. I met this wonderful professor at the philosophy department at Harvard University. He's a senior most professor there, William Goldfarb, teaches Wittgenstein. Now he is an old-timer. He's been there at Harvard for more than 50 years. He was a graduate student and then is now a senior most professor there of philosophy. He is not very up-to-date on modern technology, so all the other professors they have their web page and all assignments and readings and lots of stuff. Everything is there on their the internet portal for the university. Except him. I mean, his portal is there, but it's very sparse. Not much is there. You can see that he's not very interested in it. Now, what he said in the class was, come to class. If you want to understand subtle thinking, come to class, listen, look, body language. Look at why it is supposed to be transmitted through a teacher is that we need, for very good psychological reasons, for very good pedagogical reasons, we need to be in close proximity with the teacher. Upanishad, the texts on which Vedanta is based, one of the definitions of Vedanta is Vedanta Nama Upanishad Pramanam. The source of spiritual knowledge called the Upanishads is Vedanta. But the word Upanishads, it means Upanishad, if you split it up, Upa means near. Ni means with certainty, without any doubt. And Sat, of course, the verbal root has three meanings. One meaning is that which takes you or makes you realize your real nature, that is Brahman. That which destroys the bondage of samsara. And that which also loosens the bondage of samsara. To make you realize, to destroy the bondage and to loosen the bondage of samsara. Not important. The point I'm going to make here is, the first one, Upa, it means to approach the knowledge. Secondarily, it means to approach the teacher. What I'm saying right now, it may sound a little stilted because I'm translating directly from Shankaracharya's Sanskrit commentary. It means to approach a teacher. Also, it means to sit near, Upa, to sit near, like we are all doing, sitting near. Physically sitting near the teacher, absorbing the knowledge. A deeper meaning is sit near the teacher. Not just physically. Where is the master sitting? The master is sitting in Brahman, in their real nature. So our sitting near the teacher means sitting in Brahman, being established in Brahman, as Vivekananda said, take a stand on the Atman to realize that I am this. This is the meaning of the prefix Upa, the deeper meaning. That's why that professor said, come to class. I still remember. Come to class. Look at me. Listen to me. Listen to the words, not just online. So that's why we are here together. And that's why I wanted to look at you. I mean, later I think if it's possible to raise the chair a little bit, then I'll be happy to sit and speak. But it's always better to be able to have eye contact with those you are speaking to. Spirituality is realization, God realization, self-realization. There are different ways of putting it. The whole project is what Vivekananda was very fond of quoting here in Europe and in America. Trinvantu Vishve Amritasya Putraha. Listen to me, ye children of immortal bliss. Aye dhamani divyani tastu. If there are gods in heavens, do you also listen? Because what we are going to talk about is higher than that. Vedaham Purusham Mahantam. I have realized that infinite being. What's it like? Aditya Varnam, Tamasaf Parastal. Blazing forth like the sun. Beyond all darkness, beyond the darkness of limitation and sorrow and misery and death. Tameva viditva ati mrityumeti. Realizing that one goes beyond death, goes beyond sorrow, goes beyond limitation. Nanyah pantha vidyate ayanaya. There is no other path to this. Every other path, every secular path that we may take up, prosperity, wealth and good medical care and community and Facebook and whatever you want, none of them will be a deep, ultimate solution to the problem of human suffering. It doesn't have to be suffering. Somebody said, Swami, why do you keep talking about suffering? People don't relate to it. No, most people are not really suffering, especially in Switzerland. You're not really suffering. But dissatisfaction, dukkha, the word dukkha, need not mean intense suffering. It can, but it also means just the human condition, the existential angst, the dissatisfactoriness of this limited existence. That can be overcome. That is the goal of spirituality. Here I'm speaking in a global sense. All spirituality. That's the goal. Whether the path of knowledge, which we'll do today, tomorrow also, or in the way of devotion, there are different ways of approaching this. We'll talk a little more about it later. So this is the goal of self-realization, or it can also be called God realization. And that's what we're going to talk about. Just now in the introduction, she said, we hope we'll be enlightened. Let us hope. And the hope is, it's not an unrealistic hope. Again, a professor of philosophy at Harvard asked me the question, like a challenge in the class once. If moksha, nirvana, self-realization, God realization is so difficult and so rare, why would anybody enter the path at all? If the chance of success is minimal, then why would you spend so much time and energy on it? What is your answer? So I gave two answers and he gave a third one. But all three I want to share here with all of us today. Because of, can we expect it? What can we expect being on this path? So three answers. One answer is that it's not a minuscule chance. It's not that very few people, 1 in a million seekers, 1 in a billion seekers will get enlightenment and the rest won't. No. Everybody will get enlightenment. Everybody will realize God. Only we don't know if it's in this lifetime or in future lifetimes. The point being, if it is our real nature, what can stop you? What can stop us from getting it? Because we already have it. Whatever else we may get in life, or we may not get in life, if we seek this, we shall find. The language of the Bible, seek and ye shall find. Knock and it shall be opened. It is ours. So that's the first answer. When we ask, can we expect to be enlightened? First answer is certainly, it's guaranteed. But depending on the intensity of our quest, whether in this lifetime or next, we don't know. But we will all get it. That's one answer. The second answer is that once we have come to this path, what else will you do? What else will you do? This is the most precious thing in our lives. Once you have, you accept that God exists. God realization is possible. Self-realization is possible. I want that. Once we start on this path, it very quickly becomes the most precious part of our lives. I remember when I became a monk, after a few days, one day I was asking a senior, not a senior Swami, I was too hesitant to approach the senior Swamis, but a senior brahmachari, another novice. I don't think I'm making much progress. That was 3 or 4 days after I became a monk. And this brahmachari said, he gave a very nice answer which I remember till now. Okay, go back home. I said, no, I can't do that. And then he said, look, you were in that life for the last 23 years. From your birth till last week. And now within a week you say, I can't go back to that kind of life. I want this kind of life. Isn't that progress? That's tremendous progress. So we all have it. The fact that we are all gathered here today, and we are, all of us, at some way or the other, we are seekers, and we have been spiritual practitioners, some for years and decades, some for a shorter time, but this becomes a very precious thing in our lives. If we are told, the same thing is given to us, they're told to us, stop. Don't go to the ashram, don't read spiritual books, don't listen to spiritual talks, don't meditate, don't pray, whatever your practice is, stop it, give it up. We will say, no, I like it, I really can't do without it. That's the second thing. The second answer is, once you have come to this path, what else will you do? This is the most precious thing, once we have got a taste of it. Third, these are the two answers which I gave. And then the professor said, these are good answers, but they're a little theoretical. I'll give you the real practical reason why people come to this path and stick to it. So this professor said, his name is Professor Parimal Patil, he said, it's because it's not just a question of becoming enlightened, getting nirvana or moksha someday, or the vision like Sri Ramakrishna of Ma Kali, someday. But day to day we get the benefit. As days go by, it gives spirituality, gives meaning to our lives, gives hope to our lives, gives strength to our lives, gives us peace of mind, gives us a direction and a higher purpose of life. So we get the benefit of this not at the end of, many lifetimes later you will become enlightened. Not like that. That's fine. But now also we are getting the benefit. Day to day we are getting the benefit. Come to a retreat, you get the benefit. Listen to a talk, you get the benefit. Go and sit in a shrine and meditate, you get the benefit. You read a holy book, you get the benefit. Spend 2 minutes sitting in a quiet spiritual atmosphere, you get the benefit. So this is the background. Today we are going to speak about Advaita Vedanta, today and partly tomorrow, non-dual Vedanta. This is one way. That was one of the beauties of Sri Ramakrishna. He said, what about this wide variety of which you find in spirituality and religion? He said, these are paths. Religion is not the goal. Even spirituality is not the goal. God realization, self-realization, that is the goal. And all of these are paths, are practices, are paths to God realization or self-realization. So, we will, in order to understand what these paths are, it's helpful to understand what we are going to do today and tomorrow. It's helpful to distinguish it from others. One way of understanding what this is, I'm going to speak a little bit from this text this morning and some similar texts today and tomorrow. One way of understanding what this is to understand what it is not. One way to understand what a path is to distinguish it from other paths. Remember, when I go into this, I am not disparaging other paths. Sri Ramakrishna was very clear. He said in Bengali pitha, and in English or Americans would say pie or a pizza or whatever it is. You can taste it like this, you can taste it like this, you can taste it like that. It'll taste the same. You are tasting the same thing, the same reality. So, now we're going to do this exercise. What we're going to do now is to drill deep. So, to set aside some things in order to understand the essence of this path. It's important to understand it as it is. All the other paths are valuable. They lead to enlightenment, spiritual development. Very good. But this one we must become a little clear about it. One reason is we already have conceptions about spirituality. And by and large, they are not wrong conceptions. But, idea of prayer, of God, of meditation, of devotion. These are conceptions of spirituality which we have. And they are not wrong. But this is very different. That's why we need to distinguish this. We need to get a grasp on what exactly is going on here. One way of being spiritual is God and devotion. Yesterday, some wonderful people took me to some of these beautiful old churches here in the heart of old Zurich. So that's the one way of being spiritual. God exists. And you acknowledge the presence of God. And your goal is God. You approach it through devotion and prayer and sacrifice and service and trying to live life as is taught in your tradition. This is called, broadly speaking, the path of devotion, the yoga of devotion, or in Sanskrit, bhakti yoga. It depends on belief, depends on faith. You can't start by saying, oh, I don't believe in God, then it won't start for you. It starts with faith, and for a long time it proceeds on the basis of faith, And that's a beautiful, beautiful path. But the problem with that might be, suppose somebody says, I don't believe. I can't believe. I was reading this very beautiful work by a French philosopher, Luc Ferry, Luc, and Ferry. He was asked to write a short introduction to Western thought. History of thought is written, history of Western thought, and became so popular. It was in French. He's a French philosopher. Became so popular, it's been translated into English, so I was reading it. And what he has done there, he has traced the history of Western thought from ancient Greece to Christianity, to modernism, and then postmodernism. And he does a very good job of tracing it out. Wonderful. I enjoyed the book. At the end of the book, he asks this rhetorical question. If you ask me which one would I prefer, which worldview, Greek worldview, the Christian worldview, and the modernist worldview, or the postmodern way of looking at things today? He said, without a doubt, I will say I prefer the Christian worldview. The idea of existence of God, our role in that, and what is the world, this idea, a religious worldview, devotional religious worldview, a bhakti worldview. He doesn't use the term bhakti. He says, I would prefer that. But he says, I can't believe it anymore. That's the paradox, that's the problem of the modern man. That our heart may want that death is not the end, God exists, heaven exists. Modern science, modern thought will say it's silly, it's superstitious. What proof do you have? It's a primitive way of thinking. So, doubt. If you, sometimes I say people who are very emotional and very committed to devotion and religion, I say, go and listen to Richard Dawkins and Christopher Hitchens and Sam Harris and Daniel Dennett. Go through a solid daily 1 hour of YouTube talks. You'll be cured of your devotion and religiosity. Within 1 month, this disease will go away. Skepticism. There is no answer to this. Old ways of thinking do not have answers to this. Richard Dawkins, he said, he was asked this question. Why do you talk about atheism? Only less than 1% of the world is atheist. 99% are, they believe in some form of religion. Especially after the fall of communism. Large numbers of people who were classified as atheists now are classified as belonging to some religion. His answer was harsh and stunning. He said it is true. More than 99% of the world's people believe in some religion. But there was a survey done of living Nobel laureates. And 80% of living Nobel laureates said, 80 to 90% said that we don't believe in religion. We don't believe in God. Implication. So he's understated. He's British, so he didn't draw out the implication. The implication is the more dumb you are, the more likely you are to believe in God. The smarter you are, the more accomplished you are, the less likely you are to believe in God. So this is the problem with the devotional approach. Skepticism is a problem. An answer to this, a powerful answer to this, not what we are going to talk about, but still, an answer to this comes from Vivekananda, Sri Ramakrishna, that God can be experienced, an empirical approach to God. The answer comes from ancient India. God has always been a matter of experience. Once Vivekananda was giving a talk in a church in America. As he entered, this young lady who was left reminiscences of Vivekananda. She said, I was a young girl at that time, and we heard this teacher has come from India to speak. And somebody was whispering to me breathlessly, he is like a prophet of the Old Testament. And somebody said, but isn't the age of prophets gone? Then somebody else replied, in India it's always the age of prophets. So yes, God can actually be experienced. An answer to this question of skepticism, powerful answer, comes from Sri Ramakrishna, who says, I have seen God. Swami Vivekananda goes to him as a young student, and he goes around in late 19th century Calcutta asking this question. Have you seen God? Not do you believe in God, or why should I believe in God? Does God exist? No. All those are theoretical questions. So he asks a question which is very much the spirit of this age. Have you seen God? Have you experienced God? And he found a direct answer in Sri Ramakrishna, who says, yes, I have. I have seen God just as I see you. And he says even more clearly. So this is the answer of all religious traditions, but especially in India. From ancient times till today, there have been people and who have had these experiences of divinity, empirical experiences. Not only that, it's open to everybody. Vivekananda would come and say in the West, in Europe and in America, if anybody says that I have seen God, but you cannot and you must follow me, don't listen to such a person. If a person says that I have seen God and you can too, then you may listen to such a person. So, this is called the path of mystical experience. There's a word for this in India. It's called yoga, a special kind of yoga. I'm thinking now of Patanjali yoga, where it is not a question of belief. It's not a question of it is revealed to you, God exists, now you have to believe. No. You experience for yourself. Will show you ways of sitting and focusing your mind and inwardizing, and then you will have these extraordinary special experiences, mystical experiences, which will prove to you the claims of religion. That God exists. As Vivekananda said, if God exists, I should be able to see God. If I have an immortal soul, I should be able to feel it. And the answer is a strong, positive, yes, it's possible. Again, this is not what we're going to talk about. This path of special mystical experience. Why? This is also open to doubt. If you ask a modern neuroscientist, will say, or a psychiatrist, will say, we don't doubt you are experiencing this, but you're just that you are nuts. And Americans would say, you're crazy. That is not a politically correct way of speaking today. So they will say, there's a new term, you're neurodiverse. Have you heard of that? Neurodiverse? No, they will say that there is a little stroke in this part of your brain, and that's why this is putting, a blood clot is putting some pressure on some neurons. That's why you are having these visions. Not that you're actually seeing God, or you're high. I don't know what is the situation. Luckily, Switzerland has strict laws, I think. In Manhattan, many people they're realizing God every day. So, after 6 o'clock, if you go to Central Park, you will find many people who are very spiritual. So, the psychiatrist might say, a neuroscientist might say, you have ingested some substance, or you have a stroke in the brain. That's why you're having this experience. Not that you're actually seeing God. It can be doubted. And this is not just today. All throughout history, in all religions of the world, every part of the world, what is the first reaction to a mystic? You're mad. What was people's reaction to Sri Ramakrishna? He was called the mad Brahmin of Dakshineshwar, the mad priest of Kali. People thought he was mad, having these visions. So Vivekananda, at the beginning, he was captivated by Ramakrishna, but he still thought that he is a bit of obsessive about God. He's crazy. So the reaction, why do people have this reaction? The reason is, the problem with this path is, these are special experiences. The mystic is experiencing God, and the mystic is completely convinced. No matter what you may say to the mystic, a genuine mystic is completely convinced. But we just see them. We are not experienced. It's not common experience. The fact that there is this beautiful vase of flowers right here, if I say I'm seeing a vase of flowers here, none of you will doubt me. You won't say that you're crazy or having visions, because you're also seeing it. It's common experience. It's public experience. But if I say I am seeing an elephant here, you will say, what is the Swami on? What drug is he taking? Because nobody else sees an elephant here. So the path of mystical experience can also be challenged. It's open to doubt. Now I have given two paradigms of spirituality. And now I'm coming to the point. Distinguished from the path of devotion, distinguished from the path of extraordinary, special, mystical experience, is the path of knowledge which we are going to speak about. The path of realizing through analysis, through a spiritual, philosophical inquiry, self-inquiry. It is not based on belief. Nothing here is going to be based on belief, at no point. Second, it's also not based on any kind of special experience, because what we're going to talk about from the beginning to the end is going to be public, not exactly public, but direct experience which all of us have. At one point, if it seems theoretical, as we'll go into this, you will see, at one point it will seem theoretical. If it does not seem theoretical, it seems absolutely a matter of fact, from beginning to end, congratulations, you are enlightened, done. But if it does not seem a matter of fact, it does not seem obvious, In that case, at one point it may seem, now this sounds speculative, this sounds metaphysical, theoretical. The claim of Vedanta is, it's not metaphysical or theoretical, it's absolutely a matter of fact, as much as this flower, or more than this actually, as we shall see, directly available to us. We are not getting it. So, what we are going to do now is this path of knowledge, path of what is called Jnana Yoga. So, three approaches I've distinguished: a bhakti approach, devotional approach; meditative approach, which might be called a Raja Yoga approach or a Patanjali Yoga approach. That's just a name. There are wide varieties in this spectrum. Many varieties are there. And now this path of inquiry, the path of knowledge. So this third one is what we're going to speak about. And I'm saying that it has two advantages. One advantage is it's not based on belief. It's not open to accusation. This is superstition. Nobody can do that. I have spoken about this to some really tough crowds. There are philosophers of mind. There are neuroscientists. The toughest crowd I've ever faced are actually, they were psychiatrists. I have spoken at least on two gatherings of only psychiatrists. So nobody can deny that at least the arguments are very strong. The logic here is very strong. Very difficult to ignore it. Irrefutable, let us say. So that's one advantage. It's not at all a question of belief. Second is, it's not at all a question of some special unique experience which cannot be replicated or which is something not commonly available. Whatever we're going to speak about today and tomorrow in this path, seer and seeing, subject and object. Who doesn't have subject and object? You are the subject and this is the objective world for you. It's always there. Waking, dreaming, sleeping. Who has not experienced waking, dreaming, sleeping? Who has not experienced the 5 levels of the human personality? Who doesn't have a body and breath and mind and intellect? Pancha kosha vichara. All of these are continuously available to us. Most quotidian, experience for all of us. So it's always there. This is the advantage. Another way of putting it. What exactly are we going to do here? In one way of understanding Advaita Vedanta is here the spiritual journey. The spiritual journey we shall undertake is not a journey in space, it's not a journey in time, it's not a journey from one object to another object. What does it mean? It's not a journey in space. We're not going to talk about going from here to heaven. So that's not the journey we're going to talk about. It's here. It's not just in heaven. If heaven is there, it's in heaven. Wherever it is, this reality we're going to talk about is there. And right here also. Everywhere and here also. It's not a question of time. Not a journey in time. You wait until the coming of the Messiah. You wait until you have samadhi. You wait until death, after death. Post-mortem religion. No. It is there after death. It's after the coming of the Messiah. It is also after samadhi. But it's also now. It's right now also. It's all the time. It's now. And even more interesting, it is not something other than you. It's not a journey from here to something called God. Here to something called heaven or pure land. Some other thing, some other entity. No, it's you. Tattvamasi. You are it. The crucial thing which Advaita Vedanta points out is our whole problem is we are not paying attention to ourselves. So Swami, we are always obsessed with ourselves. Yes, but with a very wrong conception of ourselves. Whatever we are obsessed with is what we have taken ourselves to be. That has to be corrected. Proper attention to our own experience of ourselves. When I say our attention to ourselves, I mean experience of ourselves. Right now, what is available to us and what we are missing all the time, that one we will have to attend to. And that will be pointed out. Every step of it will be crystal clear. Whatever will be pointed out will be crystal clear. And when we see what is being pointed out, we will say, oh, it's always there. It's always available. How come I didn't notice it earlier? What do we have to do? Practice. What do we have to do? In the path of devotion, we understand. We have to go to temple or church and to pray and worship. In the path of meditation, we understand. We have to sit like this, breathe like this, keep our eyes closed, do an internal mental exercise like this, turning our focus inwards. But in this path, what do we have to do? What do we have to do? We have to be very clear. What we have to do is very simple. First of all, listen. Simple enough. Not so simple. People find it very difficult to listen. Yeah, that's true. Somebody showed me something amazing. Nowadays there are these AI assistants. So after the class, this person asked the AI to listen to the recording and make a summary. The AI made a much better summary than any human being could have. Because when we are listening, we keep dropping things. Our attention flickers a little bit. The AI has unflickering, perfect spiritual seeker, AI. Unflickering attention. It will make a very nice summary of what was taught. So listening, carefully listening. What did he say? What does the text say? What did I get out of it? Step 1. Then you will have questions. Question of understanding. I have heard it, but I don't get it. I don't get that. Let us not jump to the conclusion, I have understood it. Many people say, I have heard so many talks, and Swami, I have understood everything intellectually. The moment you use the word, I have understood everything intellectually, any traditional Advaita teacher, any Pandit also who teaches Advaita will say, you have not understood. It's like saying, I am Sarvapriyananda, I understand that intellectually, but not really. Then you will say, you don't know what it means to be Sarvapriyananda, and you are thinking of something else. You are it really, all the time. What's the new thing to understand there? What remains? So, let us not presume we have understood it. If you have really heard, there's a very nice way of putting it. If you have really, really heard, you'll be enlightened. If you have really understood, you'll be enlightened. And if you have really meditated, non-dual meditation, you'll be enlightened. All three. Third step is, I've heard, I have understood, now I want to make it a living reality. It still doesn't seem living to me. So I stay with it and meditate, non-dual meditation. 3 steps. Shravana, hearing. It means systematically studying it. Then Manana, to reason about it so that you can claim at the end of reasoning, I get it. And Nididhyasana, which is a fancy word for dhyana. The old Sanskrit word of dhyana, meditate. This is a kind of special kind of non-dual meditation. We'll see what it means. We'll do that. We're nearly at the end of the first session. I haven't started yet. Now we're going to start. No, we are not at the end. I'm just joking. Okay. So I'm going to speak now for the next few minutes. I will introduce us to one method of self-inquiry. Admittedly, my favorite method. That's why I like to start with this. And it's based on this little book, Drigdrishya Viveka. The method of the seer and the seen. The method of the seer and the seen. We don't know who wrote this book, but probably sometimes it's attributed to Adi Shankaracharya. But probably looking at the language and the techniques, the way of thinking and the arguments, probably it's Vidyaranya Swami, who lived about 500-600 years ago in the south of India, in the Vijayanagar kingdom. He is famous for his other book on Vedanta. Anybody knows? Panchadashi, yes. Panchadashi, 15 chapters on Vedanta. This is very similar to some of the things he has said in that book. So that's why people think that he wrote this book. Anyway, whoever wrote it, it's a wonderful introduction to Vedanta, the way of knowledge. And one reason is the very first verse, which we will do, goes directly to the point. The most important verse in this one is the very first verse. So we will do that. Then we will try a non-dual meditation. Then we will go into question answer. Usually, you have to listen first, ask questions, and then meditate afterwards. We're going to listen first, meditate, and then ask questions. One more, all of which I said just now. One takeaway, simple takeaway. One sadhu in Uttarakhand put it like this. He says, when you ask a child, what is a nose? The child will not say, nose is the organ of respiration and olfactory or sense organ. No. The child will say, this is a nose. Nose. In Vedanta, in this part, what we are going to do, we have to be like that, childlike in the sense, never lose sight of what is being talked about actually in our lived experience. Instead of saying, see, the problem is if I say nose is the organ of breathing, an organ of smelling, what I'm doing is trading in words. You give me one word nose, I'll look at the dictionary and give you a few more words for nose. But what the child does is, nose, here. points to the reality. I mentioned Wittgenstein, the philosopher in Cambridge. There's a very nice story which I love. Suddenly, he's a philosopher of language. So suddenly in the middle of the class, he holds up a piece of chalk like this and says, "What is this?" And somebody said, "It's a chalk." And Wittgenstein tossed the chalk at him, I don't know if he hit him, and said, "Chalk is a word. Was that a word? The thing which comes and hits you here maybe, was that a word? No. It's a thing. It's an object. Sanskrit, vastu." Similarly, in Vedanta, if you can hold on to the vastu, the object, the reality meant by the words, which the words are pointing towards, hold on to it at every stage, knows, you'll become enlightened. You need only one lesson in Vedanta, and you'll become enlightened. It's as easy as that, and as difficult as that. Remember the child knows, and remember, then do this also, that at which point does it sound theoretical? Up to which point? There'll be stages, 4 stages. Up to which stage can you do this? Knows. By the way, I don't physically mean knows. We have to directly experienceable for you. Are you able to say it is a fact? Up to which stage can you do it, and which stage it becomes theoretical for you? Which stage you say, no, I can't, I don't get it. It's also an interesting exercise. That's where you need to focus. Okay. Americans by this time, you are a very patient bunch. Americans would be like, move along. We get it all. It's all right. All right. First verse. Rupam drishyam lochanam drik tadrishyam driktu manasam drishyadhivrittaya sakshi drigeva natu drishyate. This verse, what it means is, eyes are the seer and the forms are seen. The eyes are seen, the mind is the seer, the mind is seen. The consciousness, witness consciousness is the seer, the witness consciousness is never seen. Now, in order to unpack this verse, we need to hold on to one principle. And the principle is the seer and the seen are different. In a very naive way. Don't be over sophisticated about it. In a very naive way. The seer and the seen are different. What do I mean by that? Here is this beautiful flower. Is it a real flower or? It's a real flower. So here is a beautiful flower. Now, this flower is being seen by the eyes. You might say, no, you, the being, you are seeing through the eyes. That's all right. Let's just be naive. Let's just be childlike. Here is the flower, and I am seeing it through the eyes. Notice the eyes are physically distant from the flower which they see. In fact, the only thing that the eyes cannot see are the eyes themselves. As you come closer, you can see everything at a distance, whatever can be seen. And when you come to the eyes, eyes can be seen, but you can't see the eyes with the eyes. You can see a picture, you can see a reflection, but that's not the eyes, the way the eyes are seeing this directly, they cannot see themselves directly like that. And this points to a deeper philosophical principle. Things cannot operate on themselves. Self-reflexivity is not allowed. A knife cannot cut itself. Similarly, the eyes cannot operate on themselves. They cannot see themselves directly. So this principle, it's a working principle. It's what we shall use and we will abandon very soon. But right now we will use it. Seer and seen are different. I'm not stipulating it. I'm not making it a law. Let us just notice that it's a fact. The seen is this, the seer is this. As simple as that. Seer and seen are different. That's important. That's number one. Notice another thing. The seen are many. I'm seeing this yellow flower and the green flower and the orange flower. I'm seeing the grass outside. I'm seeing the people here. I'm seeing the white walls and the ceiling. All of these are seen. But they are all being seen by the same pair of eyes. So the seen are many, many and varied. The seer is one. I don't mean I'm one-eyed and one organ of vision. The seer is one, the seen are many. Third, keep this in mind, that the seen keep changing, the seer is relatively unchanging. You saw something outside, now you're seeing something. Very soon you will see a nice packet of lunch. You will see so many different things. They are all changing one after another. But relatively the seer is unchanging. All of this, don't be philosophical about it. All of it, take it as in a naive way, in like this, knows. three observations. Eyes are the seer, colors and shapes are seen. Colors and shapes are different from the eyes. They're separated from the eyes. One, seer and seen are different. Second, many colors and shapes are seen all around you, but the eyes are the one and the same. Seer is one, seen are many. Then third, the seen are changing continuously, the seer is unchanging, relatively. This is step one. We'll go in 4 stages. Step one, stage 1. Stage 2. Each stage is subtler and more inwards. But when I say inwards, I don't mean physically inwards. It means inwards in our experience. There's a word phenomenologically inwards. Phenomenological means as it feels to you, as you experience it. In that sense, deeper or inwards. So, now consider the eyes themselves, these eyes. I am aware of the eyes. I know the eyes. My eyes are open, I know this. I am aware of it. My eyes are closed, I am aware of it. Eyes can see very well, I am aware of it. Eyes need spectacles, glasses, I am aware of it. The eyes are known, quote unquote, seen. And the mind is the seer now. It's the mind which is considering, thinking about the eyes and seeing. Not actually physically seeing the eyes, but knowing the eyes. So the mind becomes drashta, knower. And the eyes become the drishya, known, seen. Again, remember, seer and seen are different. So whatever the mind is, it's certainly not these physical organs called eyes. Something different from them. And the mind remaining the same, the conditions of the eyes have changed. At one time I could see very well, now I need glasses. When I first needed glasses, I didn't know that. I couldn't read very well. I went to the eye doctor and the doctor said, something is very wrong, Swami. I said, what? You have hit 40. I mean, you've gone past 40. This is one of the sure signs of being 40 is that you don't see too well anymore. I mean, though you need glasses. So the eyes, the condition of the eyes is known by the mind. And the many things which are seen, not just the eyes, the ears, all the sense organs, the variety of the parts of the body, all of this variety, many, the seen are many, the mind is one. Mind being mind. It knows all the sense organs and the inputs from the sense organs, the various parts of the body. Again, 3 things. Seer and seen are different, and the seer is one, the seen are many, the seer is unchanging, the seen are changing. 3rd stage, drishyadhivrittaya sakshi. Now it gets interesting. So far it's common sense. Why are these things mentioned? Eyes are different from the flowers. What is Vedanta in this? What is spirituality in this? This is the principle of teaching. Start with the most obvious. Start with the known. Pedagogy. Go from the known to the unknown. Go from what is near to what is far. Go from what is to what shall be. This is the golden rule of teaching. In Vedanta, you have to modify it. Go from the near to the nearest. Go from what is known, not to unknown, to more than known. That is your own real nature. And not from what is to what shall be, not like that. From what is to what really is. So that's why we are starting with the most obvious and then making it more and more subtle and inward. You are all throughout, in each of the 4 stages, our attitude should be knows. Not physically knows. 3rd stage. The mind itself becomes the seen. And this is an amazing stage. Where, let us consider, am I aware of the thoughts of the mind? If I want to be, I can be aware. This is called introspection. Looking into our own minds. What am I feeling? Psychologists will always ask you, when you're doing a therapy session, how does that make you feel? How does that make you feel means you have to look into your own mind. You look into your own emotions. So, what do you think about it? What do you feel about it? What do you remember? What do you understand? Your professor asks you, did you understand what I said? Please tell me. So, every case, in understanding, in feeling, in remembering, we have to look into the mind. So, when we are looking into the mind becomes an object, drishya, seen, known. Then what is the subject? What is the seer of the mind? So now, Seer and seen are different, so it has to be something different from the mind. Many people make a mistake here. They think the mind is known by mind, one thought by another thought. But both thoughts are being experienced by what? Do you understand the question here? A question might be, but aren't you just thinking about it, thinking about the mind? So the mind is knowing the mind. You can make the mind know the mind. One thought, there can be a thought about another thought. But notice, even when you are not thinking about your thoughts, you're just doing things in the world. Maybe you're busy driving, maybe you're experiencing intense joy or pain or annoyance. At that time also, isn't your conscious life continuing? Isn't it a kind of an experience? In that case, what is experiencing that? Even when the mind is not actively considering the contents of the mind. The contents of the mind are still being experienced. What knows the mind? If you know the mind, Vedanta this book gives you a word, Sakshi, witness. Just call it Sakshi, the witness. The knower of the mind, the seer of the mind. When the mind is the seen, you are the seer. That seer is the one which knows the mind. Seer and the seen are different. So you, the seer of the mind, you are different from the mind. You are not the mind. Seer is one, the seen are many. You are one. All the things in the mind, good thoughts and bad thoughts, happy thoughts and unhappy thoughts, curiosity and boredom, bravery and cowardice and understanding, not understanding, remembering and forgetting, all of the activities of the mind. There are so many thoughts and kinds of thoughts and feelings. They are all known by you, the experiencer of the mind. The seer is one, the mind, the seen is many. Third, the mind changes continuously. Does the mind change? Yes, you would say, oh boy, does it change? All the time. Since this morning till now, how many times you are happy? How many times annoyed? How many times curious? How many times bored? How many times puzzled? How many times clear? In one day, just now, less than a half a day, it's 11 o'clock. How many times this mind is changing continuously. But all of these changes are known by you. They are all experienced by you. This Sakshi, this witness of the mind is not changing. It is the unchanging seer of the changing mind. It is the one seer of the varied thoughts in the mind. And it is the seer which is distinct from the seen. You are not the mind. We are the witness of the mind. Witness not in the sense of a guy watching from the window and witnessing a crime. It's a bit like that also. Mind is always perpetual crime scene. But we are witnessing the mind. Witnessing in the sense of illumination. Like the light is lighting up this room. If you switch off the lights, it's dark. You switch on the lights, whatever is in the room will be illumined by these lights. Similarly, think of yourself, the seer of the mind, as a light. As a light, here it illumines the people and the chairs and tables and flowers and pictures. In the mind, the light which you are illumines the thoughts in the mind, the memories in the mind, the understanding, buddhi, intellect in the mind, the emotions in the mind. And sometimes nothing when the mind is quiet. Meditative mind, sleeping mind, stopped mind. That also is illumined. Like an empty room being illumined by the light. So you are the light which illumines the mind. You are the witness of the mind. Sakshi. Drishyadhivrittaya Sakshi. Stop a little while here. The way to apply it, already applications are possible. I, the witness of the mind, am distinct from the mind. Now, whatever I am distinct from, the properties of whatever they are distinct from, they remain there. See, I see this flower. The flower is yellow. The flower is yellow, golden. Now I am seeing it. I don't become a flower when I see the flower. I don't become yellow when I see the yellow flower. The yellow color belongs to the flower. Flower is seen, the yellow color is also seen, the color belongs to the flower. One sadhu put it this way, Jo jahan ki cheez hai Mahatma ji, usko wahin rehne do. Simple principle of applying Vedanta. Keep things where they belong. What do you mean? Keep things where they belong. Put it in the right shelf, the right place. This, I am overweight. You guys are fine. It's a perpetual problem in America. I am overweight. Am I the witness, the consciousness overweight, or is the body overweight? Remember, we are not escaping from the problem, but we are putting the problem where it belongs. I, the awareness, witness of the mind. Can consciousness be overweight? Is the consciousness of 200 pounds or 300 kgs or whatever? Impossible. I am awareness, like this light. And the body, okay, body may be overweight, or the body is skinny. Just like this flower is yellow and that flower is orange. Or yellow and orange are in the flower and they stay in the flower. The light which illumines the flower does not become yellow or orange. Similarly, I, the consciousness, I illumine the properties of the body. The body is overweight. The body is skinny. The body is healthy. The body is diseased. The body is old. The body is wrinkled. The body is middle-aged or young. These are all properties of the body. They stay in the body. You are not old or young. You are not wrinkled or fresh. You are not diseased or healthy. You are the witness of the body in which these properties are. Again, not as a practice like this. No. Notice it's a fact. Even more important, hunger and thirst, they are in the prana. Is consciousness hungry? I feel I'm so hungry. When is he going to stop? I want that lunch. I do not want it. I am the witness of the prana in which the movement of hunger is coming. I am the witness of that. Even more important, drishyabhivrittaya sakshi, which means the movements of the mind are also seen. You are the light which illumines the movements of the mind. I don't get what he is saying. That's the mind. It's not consciousness who doesn't get what he is. Consciousness is illumining a movement of the mind. Oh, I get it, what you are trying to say. That's the mind. You are consciousness, you are exactly the same consciousness, same witness. Tip of the tongue phenomenon, I know it, I just can't remember it now. Tip of the tongue, they say. I can't recall it just now. That's the memory, it's not you. In Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna says, Matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha. So Krishna says, memory comes from me, and loss of memory also comes from me. I am the illuminer of both. Similarly, so this is all seen, these are all witnessed, they are all objects. You are the witness of them, you reveal them, like the light revealing the contents of this room. You are revealing the contents of the mind. Depression, deep unhappiness. I am so depressed. No, you are the knower of the depression. You are the illuminer of the depression. Just as the light falling on this green leaf does not make the light green, you illumining the depressed mind does not make you depressed. Remember, seer and seen are different. You are different from the mind where the depression is there. Not only that, seer is one and seen are continuously changing. You are the same one which saw the mind when it was not depressed. You are the same one which is illumining the mind when it is depressed. You are the same one which will again illumine the mind when it is not depressed anymore. At no time did you, the light, become depressed. You might say this is easy to say but difficult to practice. Wrong statement. It's not a question of practicing. It's actually a question of knows. It's a fact. It's choiceless. You can't be depressed. You can't be overweight. You can't be old or young as the witness consciousness. How is it possible? How can awareness be 200 pounds? How can awareness be hungry? How can awareness be colored by depression or unhappiness or confusion or ignorance? None of it. They are in the mind. You are the witness of the mind. In Hindi, the sadhu said, "Jo jahan ki cheez hai Mahatma ji, usko wahi rehne do." It will solve every problem in your life. Right now. Yeah. It will solve every problem in your life right now. Straight away. In one sense, yes. Another sense, no. The problems still remain. They have to be tackled at that level. Alright, there's a sickness in the body. go to the doctor, medicine for the body. I am fine. That attitude has to be there. I have no choice about it. I am choicelessly fine. Awareness is not affected by anything of which it is aware. Shankaracharya says in Vivek-Chudamani, Adityavad bhasya vilakshano aham. Like the sun shining, which is distinct from all that it illumines. It illumines the whole world without being touched by the world. Similarly, I am the awareness which illumines everything going on in the mind, in the prana, in the body, in the world, without being touched by the world. At no point is any problem denied. At no point is any solution denied. But the problem and solution are both objects here. This is the problem that will be removed by this solution. I am fine. This gives so much peace. When you have this attitude, the mind itself will get peace. The restless mind will become restful. The anxious mind will become peaceful and get peace, get serenity. Will be released from anxiety. So, I am the witness of the mind. Just like a light illumining the contents of a room. By the way, none of this what I am saying is true. I am just having you on. All of this I'll pull the rug out from under your feet later on. But first of all, we must first see this. Otherwise, we will not get to the truth. Why I am saying this is not true. We understand, those who have studied Advaita is non-duality. This is clearly duality. Seer and the seen. So oneness will be established. We will withdraw that, we will retract that principle that the seer and the seen are different. But we'll do that later, but not now. Now, next. Oh, so I never thought about it. I am the awareness. I am the consciousness. I am that which experiences everything. Now I must know myself. As a body, I have no problem because I know the body. As a mind, I have no problem. I know my mind. I am this person. I know who I am, what I am. But now this witness consciousness, a new concept you have introduced to me. We think it's a concept. It's actually the reality to which everything else is a concept. Anyway, you have introduced something new to me. I must know it. You can never know it. The fourth part of the verse says, Drigeva natu drishyate. The drashta, the seer, awareness itself, witness consciousness, never becomes an object. Very important thing to know. Otherwise, we'll spend a lifetime knowing, searching. Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Will you get the answer? Never. If you ever get the answer, beware. This is the wrong answer. Not because you don't exist. Because you cannot be known objectively. I won't mention the 10th man story. I told it ad nauseum. So, the 10th man, he didn't count the 10, didn't count himself, and he found only 9 were there. So that way, what it wants to show is that the witness consciousness is like the 10th person. Is like it's not an object. It's not a thing out there. The technique to doing all this, to realizing this, is never to look for yourself as an object. Never to objectify. Then what should you do? Put the force of the effort on knowing that I am not these things. I am not this body, because it's drishya, it is something seen. It's an object like this. I am not this prana. It's an object like this flower. I am not this mind, thoughts, memories, desires, regrets, happiness, expectation, anxiety, fear, joy. These are all mine. And I am aware of them. I am not this mind. They are objects. Just like this, they are objects. I am the witness of these objects. I am not an object. The philosopher David Hume, he said, when I search for this thing called the self, I examine my mind and I see a procession of judgments and perceptions and thoughts and emotions, but I do not find anything corresponding to the self. Now Vedanta says to him, not because the self does not exist. Mr. Hume, you are looking in the wrong place. You are looking for the self as an object. You will never find it. You will never find it. Because it's drigeva natu drishyate. You will never know it as an object. And it's good that you will never know it as an object. It's the self-luminous subject all the time. It's you, and you are not an object. You cannot objectify yourself. The only thing you will find, if you try to look for it, you will find the mind. You will find the senses. You will find the breath. You will find the body. And then you will find the world. The self which you are cannot be doubted at all. The self which you are cannot be doubted at all. Let me just make this point and then I'll stop for Q&A. Right here, few hundred miles from here in France, Descartes, his famous project that he set out to doubt whatever could be doubted. And he came to his cogito ergo sum, that I think, therefore I exist. His project was, whatever can be doubted, let me doubt. All this world which I am seeing, it could be a mirage, it could be a dream, it could be, today we would say virtual reality, we'll say it's like a Matrix movie. It could be that it's not here at all. I'm just imagining it. I might be just dreaming it. So everything can be doubted. But the fact that I'm doubting cannot be doubted. I can doubt whatever I'm thinking about, but I cannot doubt the doubter. Shankaracharya says, Yaiva tasya nirakarta tasyaiva atmasa. Whoever denies the existence of the self, let's say the self of the very denier, it's irrefutable. Your own existence is irrefutable. But what Vedanta does is it does two things. First of all, you exist without any doubt at all. You do exist. There's no doubt that I exist. But then he asks the question, what am I? This sure, absolute, indubitable, irrefutable existence. But what is it? What's it made of? Then we see, using this seer and the seen method, we see it cannot be the body. It's seen. I am the seer of the body. It cannot be the senses. They are seen. I am the seer of the senses. It cannot be the mind. It is seen. I am the seer of the mind. Mind, emotions, the whole personality is seen. I am the seer of that. So I exist. This irrefutable existence is what is called Sat in Vedanta, being, existence itself. Irrefutable, unchallengeable. Try it, you cannot challenge your own existence. Everything else can be challenged. And the other thing we notice is, this is not a dead existence. It's a shining existence, because I exist and I experience. I'm seeing, I'm hearing, I'm smelling, I'm tasting, I'm touching, I'm thinking, I'm remembering, I am understanding, I am enjoying, I am suffering. It is a shining existence. This shining nature of this indubitable existence, in Sanskrit it is called Chit, consciousness, pure consciousness. Okay. This is what you are. You are this limitless existence consciousness, Sat Chit. This is also called Sakshi, the witness consciousness. Never an object, ever the subject. Never the seen, ever the seer. Never changing. You might ask these questions, you can push back. Why do you say the seer cannot change? Think a little bit about it, you will see it's logically impossible. You might say, why? I, the witness consciousness, can I change? Can I become something else? Well, if the witness consciousness changes, either the change is knowable or it's unknowable. If it is knowable, then it becomes the seen, and the seen will be something in an object. It's not anymore you, the witness consciousness. If it is unknowable, and let us say that it cannot be known, but I am changing, and it cannot be known. If it cannot be known by any means whatsoever, why speak of it? What's the point in saying it? So, this witness consciousness cannot be subject to change. It is always one. It is you. Irrefutable. Always shining. Never changing. Always you. Always free of problems. So why I can have some problems? No. If you have a problem, is it something known or unknown? If it is known, it's an object. It must be either in the world, or in the body, or in the emotions, or in the prana, or in the intellect. Somewhere the problem must be there. But somewhere in a thing, not in you. All of these things are the way they put it and teach in Vedanta, in Hindi, Sanskrit, Hindi. कहीं कोई मृत्यु नहीं महात्मा जी, इसको कहते हैं सत्य. There is no death anywhere. Anywhere, there is no death at all. This is called सत्य. कहीं कोई जड़ता नहीं महात्मा जी, इसी को कहते हैं चित्त. There is no insentient, no non-consciousness anywhere. कहीं कोई दुख नहीं है महात्मा जी, इसको कहते हैं आनंद. There is no suffering anywhere. There is no sorrow anywhere. This is called joy. This is crazy. What are you talking about? This world is full of death. Isn't it observed? Yes, that's why I'm saying it's full of death. Then it's a thing. Then it's an object. It's something in something else out there. But it exists, doesn't it? We'll see. No, it doesn't. We'll see that later. Next. Let me tell you now. One simple argument. That which sees is irrefutable. You are the self which sees. The Sakshi, witness consciousness. That which is seen, Anatma, not self, the object, is always dubitable. It always can be doubted. It's always an appearance. It's different from you, the seen. It's always an appearance. It's always subject to change. And it's always a variety. It's an appearance to you, the indubitable consciousness. Yesterday we were taking this lovely cruise on the lake in Zurich, the Zurich lake. And my hosts were pointing out that there's a culture of open-air movies. They erect these screens, movie by the lake. You sit by the lake and watch a movie. I was just thinking, our whole life is open-air movie. This is open-air movie. What is the screen? You are the screen. You are the screen. Consciousness is the screen. It's the mirror on which the reflection of the world appears. Like a city seen in a mirror. The world appears in you, the consciousness. It's an appearance. The only indubitable thing there is the screen. The rest is pictures and sound. So the self is indubitable, one, unchanging, of the nature of luminosity, of the nature of existence. The non-self, the object, is always many, always appearance, always subject to change, and it is appearing in you, the screen of consciousness. This is called Jagat Mithya, appearance of the world. Hence, where is there death? If there's a death in the movie, you don't say there's a real death, let me report it, let me call the ambulance. No. Where is there non-consciousness? In Sanskrit, jada. In you, the screen of consciousness, the non-conscious objects are appearing. Are they really non-conscious or their appearances in consciousness? Where is the jada? Where is the non-consciousness? Where is there suffering? You, the pure consciousness, there is no suffering in you. Because if you experience suffering, it's an object. But that object must be an appearance in you. Let me repeat that. It's sublime. कहीं कोई मृत्यु नहीं महात्मा जी, इसी को कहते हैं सत्य. There is no death anywhere at all. This is called सत्य, pure being. कहीं कोई जड़ता नहीं, इसी को कहते हैं चित्त महात्मा जी. Oh monk, there is no insentiency. There's no really good English word for this. Non-consciousness. There's no darkness, let's put it this way. There's no darkness. It's all light. It's light shining. This is called pure consciousness, oh monk. There is no suffering anywhere. This seems stunning. Just the opposite of our it's all suffering. I'm sitting in Switzerland and weeping. No, it's all suffering. No. There's no suffering anywhere. Neither in Switzerland, nor in any part of the world. Neither in waking, nor in dreaming, nor in deep sleep. Neither in childhood, nor in youth, nor in middle age, nor in old age. Neither in life, nor in death. No suffering anywhere. This is called Ananda, bliss. More about this later on. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu. Okay.